Charles Leclerc just told on Ferrari in his latest interview. The team has shaken things up big time with extreme tweaks to the SF25 setup this season. In fact, they've changed things so much that the Monegasque had to change his driving style in an effort to tame the car. Did Lewis Hamilton's arrival have anything to do with this disruption of flow in Maranello? Let's find out right now. After 6 races, Ferrari finds itself languishing in 4th place in the Constructors' Championship, a whopping 152 points behind McLaren. Expectations were sky high for a flying start, but instead they've been stuck wrestling with a troublesome package and frustrating inconsistency. Leclerc and his new teammate Lewis Hamilton have rarely been able to crash the podium party. Hamilton's still chasing his first Grand Prix podium of the year, though he's snagged a sprint race win and a sprint podium in 2025. Meanwhile, Leclerc managed to break into the top 3 just once, in Saudi Arabia, keeping the Scuderia hopes alive, but only just. The SF25 has been a bit of a headache for Ferrari this season, struggling with shaky balance, tyre wear that just won't quit, and a general lack of zip that saw both drivers duking it out for 7th place in Miami. Not exactly the fireworks the Scuderia wanted, but hold on to your helmets, because this week could be huge for Ferrari. The Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, their home turf, is right around the corner, and the passionate tifosi are expecting nothing less than a roaring comeback. Ferrari's pulling out all the stops, throwing every trick in the book at fixing the car and cracking the mystery of its sluggish pace. Charles Leclerc has admitted that he even had to switch up his driving style and endure major setup overhauls this year, all in the name of chasing that elusive winning form. While talking about their progress, Leclerc shared this with the media. It's always very, very difficult, I think, to compare driver settings, because if you don't feel at ease, there's always something that you struggle with more than the other driver, and that's why you cannot go as fast, Leclerc told Select Media in Miami. On my side, this year, we've gone in quite extreme directions in terms of setup in order to extract a bit more out of the car. So I feel like I'm changing quite a lot of my driving style in order to fit the new requirements from this car. However, there might be things now that it's been 7 years that I've been with Ferrari. So now there are most likely things that are also very natural to me now after so many years with the team that I don't realize enough. Even though I feel like I've been driving quite differently this year, just because this car requires a different setup and a different way of driving. F1 technical gurus Mark Hughes and Giorgio Piola have broken down the crucial differences in how Hamilton and Leclerc handle the Ferrari SF25, and why Leclerc currently holds the edge. A fresh report sheds light on Lewis Hamilton's toughest challenge, with Ferrari's 2025 car, mastering its tricky braking and corner entry behavior. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc has fine-tuned his driving style to squeeze every ounce of performance from the underwhelming SF25, making the most of Ferrari's distinctive power unit. Leclerc credits these adjustments as a game-changer, helping him clinch Ferrari's first podium of the season in Saudi Arabia. I'm not obviously going to go too much into details, but it's just made the car a little bit trickier, very, very pointy, he explained in Jeddah. And that's quite tricky to drive, especially when you are on the limit in qualifying. But it's something that I like, that I've always liked in my career. It takes a few races in order to readapt everything around the car, in order to go into that direction, which is the process that we are going through at the moment and in the last races has been paying off. Hughes and Piola highlight that Leclerc has mastered using engine braking to its fullest, effectively delivering extra braking force to the rear wheels through the axle, giving him a crucial edge on corner entry. This helps him, Leclerc, rotate the car into the corner as he overlaps the braking and the cornering phases, as obviously the engine braking is working only upon the rear axle, the report continues. This gives a mild handbrake effect into the turn which Leclerc uses to his advantage. But Hamilton, used to a Mercedes which doesn't employ as much engine braking, has found the behavior a little difficult to anticipate, and this affects his confidence, making him unsure about how much speed he can carry into the turn. Hamilton and Leclerc's qualifying laps in Saudi Arabia were spotlighted as a clear example of just how much time the 40-year-old Brit is losing to his new Ferrari teammate. To give an example, we can compare how they drove through the Jeddah Turn 13 hairpin on their respective qualifying laps. Hamilton brakes slightly later, and although their brake traces are initially very similar, Hamilton is on the brakes 12 meters longer than Leclerc, losing him 0.016 seconds. Leclerc is also changing down earlier once braking begins. He's down to fifth 8 meters earlier than Hamilton. Their mid-corner minimum speeds show just how much speed Hamilton has lost, with Leclerc at 168 kilometers per hour, Hamilton 155 kilometers per hour. Leclerc has got rotation of the car much earlier into the corner, enabling him to carry that extra mid-corner speed. Hamilton even adds a further downshift to fourth as he struggles to get the car to point towards the apex. Leclerc is then able to be hard on the throttle 20 meters earlier, worth 0.053 seconds, probably as a result of getting the rotation Hamilton hasn't been able to generate, and possibly from better traction from the higher gear. In all, Hamilton loses 0.168 seconds to Leclerc just through that section. The importance of familiarity and confidence is very clear. Lewis Hamilton admits he underestimated just how brutal the transition to Ferrari would be in 2025. After a shock switch from Mercedes, where he racked up 6 of his 7 titles, the F1 legend is now facing a steep uphill battle. 6 races in, Hamilton sits just 7th in the standings, trailing behind teammate Charles Leclerc and grappling with a car he's yet to fully tame. I anticipated it would be very tough, because I've joined a team before, Hamilton said ahead of this weekend's Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, having driven for McLaren before Mercedes. I came in with a really open mind. I didn't know how tough it was going to be. I knew it was going to be challenging. It's as challenging as it could ever be on all fronts. Hopes were high for Ferrari to launch a serious title bid in 2025 after finishing second to McLaren last season, but so far that dream has stalled. Despite praising the team's chemistry, Lewis Hamilton admits there's a lot of work that needs to be done. The reality? He's 90 points adrift of championship leader Oscar Piastri, and the gap isn't closing fast. Championship? There's still a long way to go, he said. From all the years of experience, when you're over 100 points behind at this point in the season, with a car that's up against a car that's quite dominant, you have to assume that you're not necessarily fighting for the win in the championship. But things could turn around. We've never seen that happen. Would you say that Lewis Hamilton's arrival caused Ferrari to take a step backwards in an effort to give him a championship car? Let's argue about it in the comments section down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.